Picture this. It's not a movie set, not a Renaissance fair, not a simulation at a museum with soft hand sanitizer by the door. You are waking up in the year 1349 in Europe. In a city that doesn't officially have a name anymore, maps didn't bother. Locals call it something close to our place or the town. The official Latin records, sparse as they are, list it simply by the river that winds nearby. Outside, fog, thick enough to muffle sound, thick enough to make every breath taste faintly of soot and mold. Inside your head, the kind of headache that makes you regret being born, let alone volunteering for this, because volunteer you did. You, the plague nurse, no saint, no miracle worker, a barely trained soul who could stand the sight of blood and the smell of death without screaming. That qualified you for the role. Spoiler, you will not cure anyone today. Congratulations, you might just survive. Your shift begins before dawn. It will end when it ends. No one keeps proper time anymore. You will walk streets where carts roll by heaped with the dead. You will knock on doors no one dares approach. You will wear a mask that makes you sweat and choke. And you will hope through it all that the next cough is not your last. For tonight, though, you are here, you are alive, and you are listening. A candle flickers beside you. The bed is cold, lumpy, and crawling. The air smells of wax, wood smoke, and bodies too long indoors. But you have a task, and that is what keeps you moving. Let's begin. Picture this. You are not in your bed. You are in a bed, but not yours. Rough wood frame, straw mattress flattened to the hardness of a stone floor, a wool blanket that stinks of last week's sweat and this week's fear. Your eyes crack open. Gray light seeps through a warped shutter. You inhale and cough. The air is cold, damp, and tastes of smoke and rot. You can hear it. Rats skittering behind the wall, someone hacking their lungs out in the room below, distant church bells already tolling for the newly dead. Your own breath comes in little clouds. The room is freezing. Warmth, none. Privacy, none. Hope, a little. You sit up. The linen of your shift scratches your skin. Your joints ache as if you are twice your age, though you are not yet 30. You are lucky. Many your age are already buried. The sound of heavy boots creaks past your door. Someone mutters a prayer in bad Latin. Another voice sobs. You are reminded sharply of where you are. In a lodging house commandeered for plague nurses, the lowest paid and least protected of the city's helpers. Outside your room, you know, waits your gear, mask, robe, gloves, herbs. You will need them all. But for now, for this single moment, you are alive and not yet fevered. A small victory. A gust rattles the shutter. You shiver. You smell wood smoke, dried lavender someone has tried, and urine. The rats scratch louder. You wonder, not for the first time, did I lock my chest? You did. You always do. Someone knocks. 3 sharp raps. A signal. There is work already. You force yourself upright, legs stiff, and cross the icy floor. Each step wakes more aches. Behind the door stands a boy, no more than 10, eyes rimmed red from crying. Another one, he whispers. The baker's wife. You nod. You will come. But first, you reach for the mask. It hangs like a sad bird from a nail. Long beak stuffed with herbs, 2 round glass eyes. You tie it on with shaking fingers. The world narrows to a tunnel of scent. Rosemary, juniper, vinegar. The boy waits. You glance down. His feet are bare, blue with cold. You say nothing. There is nothing to say. Together you walk into the gray morning. Another day, another chance. Another step into a world half dead already. And now the fog begins to lift. Picture this. You step back inside, a few hours later. The baker's wife is gone now, wrapped, carded, prayed over. You have walked streets slick with mud and worse. You have watched ravens gather atop frozen beams. You have heard doors bolt at your approach. Now you return to your room. A pause, a breath, a moment to remember. You live here for now. The building is old, very old. No one built it for comfort. The walls lean inward. The roof leaks when it rains. The beams above your head are black with smoke and old soot. Your room is small, no bigger than 2 strides by 2 strides. A bed, a stool, a chest with a broken lock, a single shelf with a cracked cup, 2 pewter spoons, a knife. And above the shelf, nailed crooked, a small wooden icon, a saint whose face has been rubbed nearly blank by desperate fingers. The air inside is cold, very cold. Last night's coals are ash. The clay brazier beside your bed holds no warmth. You tug your cloak tighter. Heat, none. Comfort, none. Company, none, for now. You scratch your neck. Under layers of wool, linen, and sweat, lice thrive. Everyone has them. You try not to think about it. Your mattress, stuffed with straw that crackles when you move. Mice visit at night. You have woken more than once to their tiny feet on your skin. You light a new taper from a stub of candle. The flame flutters, casting long shadows. You smell tallow, sour wool, old dust. From the street below drifts a harsher scent, burning pitch. They light it now in hopes of cleansing the air. It will not work. You scratch again. Your scalp itches maddeningly. Delousing comb, somewhere. Useless. The little beasts always return. Rats live in the walls. You hear them now, gnawing, fighting, squealing. At night they venture out. You have seen one scuttle across your blanket. You sleep light, very light. A neighbor thumps on the shared wall. No words, just a rhythm. Knock, knock. Silence, knock, knock. A sign. Plague has taken another. You close your eyes briefly. Count the knocks you've heard this week. Too many. A flicker of motion, a flea leaps from your sleeve. You slap at it, too slow. It will find your skin again. Spoiler. Some of these fleas carry death. Congratulations. Yours might not. Yet. Downstairs, the landlady shouts. Coins change hands. You suspect new lodgers will be moving in. Fresh nurses, fresh prey for the rats. You pull your cloak tighter, sit on the hard stool, and breathe through the mask's herbs. They are weak now. You need more. A moment of stillness. The candle sputters. Your hands tremble faintly. You remind yourself, you are not sick, you are tired, only tired. And as you sit there, lice crawling, fleas leaping, walls cold as stone, you wonder, faintly amused, how did life come to this? Outside, the fog thickens again, the wind howls, and somewhere beneath your skin, a single bite itches harder. And so the day presses on, unkind and unclean. Picture this. Dawn is fading. You sit stiffly on your stool, knowing what must come next. Hygiene, such as it is. A daily battle half lost already. You rise. Each joint protests. You strip off your outer robe, hang the mask by its straps, and step toward the water basin. It is not elegant. A wooden bowl, cracked at one edge. Water fetched yesterday from the nearest public well. Murky, cold as bone. Sediment clouds the bottom. A skin of ice has formed overnight. You chip through it with your knife. The sound echoes sharp in the still room. Then you wash, face first. The chill stings. You gasp, always do. Hands next, fingers trembling. Arms, armpits, neck. You grit your teeth and force the ritual. Soap? A luxury. You have a sliver of lye-based paste, harsh and sour smelling. You use it sparingly. Warmth, none. Cleanliness, questionable. Relief, fleeting. You dare not linger. The cold bites deep. You dry with a linen rag, stiff with old grime. It scratches, but at least it removes the wet. Your hair? Braided tightly, hidden under a linen coif. It itches still. You rake fingers through it roughly, knowing it changes nothing. Teeth? You chew a twig of birch. It freshens the mouth a little, scrapes away the worst. The taste is bitter. You spit into the chamber pot beneath your bed. And then the other matter. The privy is outside, shared by all in this house. But you do not risk it now. Mornings see long lines, sick bodies, worse. You use the pot. Squat awkwardly, shivering, eyes on the door. The stench rises sharp and sour. You cover it quickly, set it aside for emptying later. Some days the pot freezes solid. Not today. From the alley below, you hear the gong of the waste cart making its rounds. The gong strikes twice, a warning. You will bring your pot down soon, add it to the collection. For now, it waits in the corner. You scrub your hands again in the basin, not for cleanliness, but for the illusion of it. You dry them, flex them, and sit. For a moment, you allow yourself to be still. The candle flickers. Rats gnaw faintly. Your breath curls white in the air. You wonder, not for the first time, how much of this filth breeds the death you fight. No one knows. The learned doctors speak of bad air, of humors, of imbalance. You suspect simpler culprits. Spoiler, they are correct and not. Congratulations. You have guessed the truth, but it will change nothing. The boy returns. Another knock, another call. They need you at the Weavers. You sigh. Tug on gloves stiff with old sweat. Tie the mask once more. Shoulder the satchel of herbs and cloths. And step out into the cold again. As the first carts of the dead roll slowly through the waking streets, picture this. The street is slick with frost and worse. You return from the Weaver's house as the sun struggles through gray clouds. She is alive, for now. You left clean cloth, instructions, a few drops of camphor and vinegar. You left the husband sobbing. Your body is spent. Your head pounds. Your stomach, long ignored, reminds you, feed me or I will make this harder still. You obey. Breakfast, if the word still holds meaning. Food is scarce, markets shuttered, prices high. But you have coin. Hazard pay, they call it. Not much, but enough to buy what others dare not touch. You pass a stall where onions hang in ropes. The vendor wears 3 amulets and 2 masks. His eyes widen as you approach. Plague nurse. He gestures hurriedly. Take what you want, leave coin, be gone. You do. A loaf of hard rye bread. A wedge of pale cheese. 1 small onion. Back in your room, you light a second candle. You peel the onion with a dull knife. The skin flakes like old paper. The scent burns your eyes. You welcome it. Anything to cut the stink of sickness. You slice bread. The crust is stone hard. You gnaw slowly, carefully. Each bite grits with ash and dust. No one sifts well these days. The cheese is sour, near spoiled. You eat it anyway. Warmth, none. Flavor, faint. Satiety, enough to stand. You sip thin beer from a cracked cup. Safer than water, barely nourishing. The bitterness anchors you. You drink slow. Nearby, the boy's voice drifts up through the floorboards. 4 more gone. In the square. You swallow hard. Eat the last of the bread. Wipe your mouth on your sleeve. A single flea leaps onto your hand. You crush it. Too late for the others, already feasting. You pack a pouch. More bread. A strip of dried meat. A flask of beer. You will not return soon once you go out again. Before you leave, you glance around your room. The rat hole in the corner has widened. You block it with a broken tile. It will not hold long. The mask goes on, the satchel over your shoulder. You pause by the little icon, touch it briefly with gloved fingers. A ritual, not belief, habit. Downstairs, the landlady nods grimly as you pass. You nod back. Words waste breath. Outside, the square fills with carts and bodies. Bells toll again. The boy catches your eye, pale and shivering. Hospital today, he whispers. You nod. Begin walking. Another meal finished. Another day begun, and the scent of onion clings faintly in your mask as you vanish into the crowd. While above, the sun fights through a sky thick with smoke and sorrow. Picture this. Before you step fully into the street, you stop in the entryway. One last crucial ritual, dressing for the day, not for appearance, for survival. Your clothing is a patchwork of necessity and fear. Nothing elegant, nothing clean. Everything chosen with one purpose, to shield what little of your skin remains untouched by sickness. First, the base. Linen shift, rough and worn. Long sleeves. High neck. It scratches constantly, but you endure it. Next, woolen hose, pulled tight, tied with cords above the knees. They itch, sag, and stink of old sweat. But bare legs mean open invitation to fleas. Over that, another linen shirt. Thicker, slightly less foul. You tug on a long woolen robe, your best layer of armor. Dyed brown once, now more gray than anything. Stiff from repeated vinegar baths. You cinch it tight with a braided belt. Warmth, minimal. Protection, uncertain. Dignity, none required. Gloves follow. Leather, cracked and lined with cloth. You pull them on carefully, fingers trembling slightly. You flex your hands. They feel clumsy, slow. Better that than bare. Your boots, heavy leather, caked in filth. You scrape them roughly against the threshold, knowing it makes no difference. And then, the mask. A relic already of strange design. Long beak filled with herbs, small glass discs for eyes. You lower it over your face, tie the cords behind your head. The smell of rosemary, lavender, and old sweat floods your senses. Spoiler, this mask will not save you. Congratulations. It might buy you time. The final touch. An outer cloak, waxed and stiff. Hard to move in, but it helps shed liquid and filth. You drape it over your shoulders, fasten it at the throat. A glance in a cracked mirror shard. A creature stares back. No longer fully human, masked, robed, faceless. A figure from nightmare, and yet the closest thing to hope many will see today. Outside, the wind bites through every layer. You feel it in your bones. You walk past a tailor's shop. Closed, boarded up. In the window, faded drawings of last year's fashions still hang. Embroidered bodices, velvet sleeves, bright silk surcoats. None of it matters now. No one cares for fashion in a city of the dead. A man passes in rags, a merchant's wife in torn velvet, a priest in patched robes. Class, once a wall, now paper thin. Disease respects no silk. You hear the thump of a weaver's loom, still working. Some cling to routine. You do too. One foot before the other, robes rustling, breath rasping through herbs. And as you walk toward the hospital, you see them. Two small children huddled under a threadbare blanket. No masks, no gloves. Eyes wide with hunger and fear. You pause. From your pouch, you take a strip of bread, pass it silently to the older one. No words. They stare. Then snatch it and vanish. You move on, a heartbeat heavier, a step slower, as the city breathes cold and shallow around you. Picture this. Your breath clouds inside the mask. You walk with measured steps down the main road, though road is generous. It is a strip of frozen mud, rutted and slick. Deep gouges from cartwheels, shattered ice, refuse ground underfoot. Your boots slide, catch, slide again. You steady yourself with a staff, plain wood, worn smooth by months of use. A plague nurse's badge and shield alike. Ahead, the first danger, not disease, not yet, but collapse. A cart tilts drunkenly on a broken axle, its driver slumped beside it. Two mules stand motionless, eyes dull, sides heaving. The cart bed is piled with bodies, some shrouded, some not. A thin arm dangles over the side, fingers curled. You swallow and step wide. A prayer flickers through your mind. Habit. Further on, the road narrows between leaning buildings. Icicles hang like teeth from eaves. A shutter crashes open above. A bucket tips. You leap back just in time to avoid a cascade of filthy water. Spoiler, not all dangers here walk on two legs. Congratulations, you remain unsoaked, for now. The street teems with life that should not be here. Rats dart from pile to pile. Stray dogs nose the gutters. Crows strut brazenly, black eyes glittering. You pass a dead horse, half flensed by desperate butchers. Flies already swarm, their buzz loud in the winter air. A child runs past, barefoot, wild-eyed. Behind him, a woman wails, incoherent, hoarse. You do not stop. There is no stopping here. The hospital waits. You steel yourself. A wagon rumbles by. Two men driving hard, loaded with barrels of pitch. The stench rolls after them. Street cleaners, or what passes for them. They glance at you, then away. The mask marks you as one to be avoided. Another danger, the desperate. A man lunges from a doorway, hands outstretched. His voice cracks. "Help, please, my wife, she—" You raise your staff. Step back, no touch, no contact. You shake your head once, curt. His face crumples. He falls to his knees in the filth. Your heart clenches, then hardens. You have your route. You must reach it. At a crossroads stands a pyre, unlit. Beside it, masked workers stack more bodies. No ceremony, no names. One pauses to cough, deep and wet. You shiver. Further still, a bridge, stone, arched. Beneath it, the river runs dark and sluggish. You cross quickly, breath catching at each step. The ice groans beneath your boots. Finally, the hospital comes into view, a grim silhouette against the sky. High walls, iron gates, a faded sign, Sanctuary of St. Elmo. No sanctuary now. You pause, flex aching fingers, breathe deep of bitter herbs, and walk on, toward the heart of the storm, where danger takes its deepest root. Picture this. Before you reach the hospital, you pause at a side street. A noise catches your ear. Steady, rhythmic, alive. A loom, curious, a small mercy. You follow the sound briefly, drawn toward life persisting amid death. In a narrow shop, half-shuttered, a weaver works. Bent-backed, spindle-thin, feet bare despite the cold. His hands fly, pale and cracked. The loom creaks with each pass of the shuttle. Thread, dull wool, cheap, rough, the fabric emerging as coarse, for sacks or shrouds. But still, it is work. He sees you, freezes, a flick of the eyes to your mask. Then, wordlessly, he nods and returns to weaving. You watch a moment longer. The loom's rhythm is almost hypnotic. Clack, thunk, clack, thunk. Outside, the market stirs. You pass a cooper, sleeves rolled to the elbows, hammering hoops onto a barrel. Sweat beads on his brow despite the cold. Hard work. Faster done than perfect now. His apprentice, no older than 12, rolls barrels toward a waiting cart. A butcher hacks at a carcass on a stained block. Meat scarce, bones precious. Each cut deliberate. Behind him, flies buzz thick despite the season. Near the square, a group of women scrub laundry in icy tubs, their hands red and raw. They chatter softly, glancing often toward the bell tower where fresh notices hang. A boy runs past with a basket of firewood. His face is pinched, fingers blue. He nearly collides with a rag picker sorting through discarded clothes. For rags, for resale, for burning. Work continues. Must continue. Spoiler. Most of these workers will outlast the rich who flee. Congratulations. Resilience wears humble shoes. You move on, past a line of peasants from nearby farms. They stand silent by the city gate, carts loaded with turnips, cabbages, withered apples. The gatekeeper inspects each load, wary. Inside, they will sell what they can, buy what they must, return quickly if fortune smiles. A man sharpens knives by the roadside, foot pumping the whetstone wheel. Sparks dance, his breath clouds. You pause, adjust your satchel. The loom's rhythm echoes faintly in your mind. Clack, thunk, clack, thunk. Not all life has stopped. Not yet. Not while hands can work, voices can barter, hearts can hope. A tinker calls out from beneath a faded awning. Pots mended, knives sharpened, coins fair. His eyes dart nervously. Trade is thin these days. A blacksmith hammers metal inside a glowing forge. Sparks burst, steel sings. His apprentice works the bellows, sweat flying from his brow. You watch a moment, feel the heat on your frozen skin, envy it briefly, then turn away. Your path lies on. The hospital looms larger. One more glance back. Life fights still, stubborn and grim. You walk on, toward the place where hands cannot help and work cannot save. Picture this. You pass beneath the hospital's outer arch, but your day will not end here. Orders arrived this morning, a detour first, to the manor house, to the heart of what remains of order in this city. You make your way toward the quarter where stone gives way to carved facades, tall gates, silent courtyards. The streets widen. Less filth here, though no less fear. The homes of the nobility loom, shuttered, guarded. Few faces show now. Servants scurry, masked and gloved. Lords and ladies cower behind tapestries and prayer books. Spoiler, plague bows to no title. Congratulations. Gold buys you time, not immunity. At the steps of the magistrate's hall, a soldier bars your way. Eyes narrow at your mask. You raise your staff, show the seal, the city's mark for plague duty. Reluctantly, he steps aside. Inside, warmth at last. Not comfort, but fire-fed heat. The air smells of wax, parchment, sweat. Officials huddle at long tables, speaking low, faces pale. Clerks scribble furiously. A priest chants faint prayers at one corner. A minor lord beckons you, young, thin, face lined beyond his years. His voice trembles. You will tend the chancellor. He shows signs. You bow slightly. Speak through the mask. I will see him. The chancellor lies in a curtained chamber, alone. Robes discarded, skin flushed, breath labored. You approach carefully. Gloved hands press gently, throat, brow, pulse. He stirs, eyes flutter. You do what little you can. Cool cloth, herbs beneath his nose, whispered words. Will it help? You doubt it. But duty binds you. You emerge. The Lord corners you. Your judgment. You hesitate. Then speak quietly. Prepare. He pales, nods. Coins pass to your hand. Hazard pay, not gratitude. You tuck them away. Outside the chamber, life of another sort hums. Scribes bent over ledgers, calculating losses, levies, debts unpaid. The city's lifeblood drains in ink and silence. A steward reads proclamations aloud. Markets to close at dusk, taxes postponed, militia summoned. His voice is hoarse, his eyes ringed black. You watch, wonder, will order hold? Will coin or sword outlast the plague? Spoiler, neither will stand alone. Congratulations. You serve none but the living, for now. You take your leave. The soldier opens the gate reluctantly. The cold bites again as you step into the street. Back toward the hospital, toward work that matters more. A glance at the manor windows, no faces there, only shadows behind glass. You walk faster, the mask's herbs stale, your breath shallow. Ahead, the hospital gates yawn open, and the city's true heart waits, broken but beating still. Picture this. Before entering the hospital, you divert, orders again. Supplies are needed. You must brave the market. It is not the market you remember. Stalls stand half empty, canopies sagging with frost. Goods thin, buyers thinner. The air hums with wary voices and the scrape of thin coin against rough wood. You move slowly, staff before you, mask marking your path. The crowd parts instinctively. A plague nurse brings no business. Only warning. First stop, The herbalist, a crooked man in a woolen cap, fingers stained green. His stall reeks of vinegar, camphor, rosemary. He eyes you warily. More herbs, then? You nod. He measures hurriedly, thin bundles wrapped in cloth. His scale wobbles. The weights seem generous. You say nothing. Time is too short. Coins pass. Too many. Prices rise with each bell toll. You grip your purse tighter. Next, linen merchant. Bolts of coarse cloth hang limp, the best taken by those who fled. What remains will serve for bandages. Barely. A sharp-eyed woman counts the bolts. Double price today. You hesitate. She shrugs. Plenty of dead, but few weavers now. Spoiler. Necessity breeds greed. Congratulations. You can still pay. You do, bitterly. The woman ties your bundle tight, eyes gleaming. Further on, a butcher hawks thin strips of meat. You pass. No time, no use. A baker's stall, hard loaves, black at the edges. You buy two, for patience too weak to chew anything better. The baker's hand shakes as he makes change. Near the square, a tax collector stands beneath a faded canopy. Ledger open, quill poised. A line of grim-faced citizens waits, clutching coins, rings, anything of worth. You watch a moment. A woman pleads softly. The collector frowns, scratches a mark beside her name. She walks away weeping. No mercy here. The city bleeds gold as fast as life. A voice hisses from the shadows. Nurse, fine masks, best herbs, cheap. You glance. A man half hidden, cloak ragged, eyes darting. You shake your head. No time for swindlers. He follows briefly. Real Italian cloth, real saffron, protects from all. You turn sharply, raise your staff. He melts back into the crowd. Another glance at the thinning stalls. Coins trickle from your pouch, faster than comfort allows. You gather the last items, thread, needles, a small flask of oil. The cost cuts deep, the need cuts deeper. Bundle secured, you retreat. Past the square where a new notice hangs. By order of the council, curfew at dusk, taxes due at week's end, all able hands to assist in cleansing. The words blur. You walk faster, past merchants counting coins with trembling fingers, past buyers clutching spoils to thin chests, past the hungry, the sick, the desperate, back toward the hospital gates, where coin cannot cure and trust is worth its weight in breath. Picture this. As you near the hospital gates, another sound catches your ear. Strange, almost joyous. Music. You pause. Follow the faint strains through a winding alley. There, in a half-collapsed courtyard, a crowd has gathered. A festival? No, a last defiance. A fiddler plays atop a barrel, bow flying, eyes wild. Around him, masked figures dance. Nobles in stained silks, peasants in rags. A grim carnival in the shadow of death. You stand in the archway, watching. Laughter rings, brittle, too loud. Faces painted, eyes hollow. Coins change hands in quick, furtive wagers. How long will the fiddler play? Who will fall first? Spoiler, the house always wins. Congratulations, you will not bet today. A pair of dice clatter on a makeshift table. A man cheers, sweeps a meager pile of copper toward him. Another curses, slams his fist down. Nearby, a woman deals cards with practiced ease. Her smile is thin, her sleeves thick, hiding tricks, no doubt. Players lean in, desperate for a turn of fortune stronger than fate. You shift uneasily. The air stinks of sweat, wine, and burnt herbs. A masked figure stumbles against you. You steady them, a noble woman, veil askew, eyes glazed. She laughs, whispers, "Dance with me, nurse." You step back, shake your head. Her laughter fades to a shiver. In one corner, a small stage. Children perform crude plays, plague devils, grim reapers, foolish doctors. The crowd jeers, tosses coins, bread crusts. The line between jest and grief blurs here. Above, banners hang limp, remnants of old festivals, stained with soot, gnawed by rats. You catch sight of a man selling charms, bones strung on twine, dried flowers, fragments of icons. His voice carries, "Ward off the black breath, 1 penny, 1 life saved." You turn away. A crier mounts the stage, shouts hoarsely, "Arena match at midday. Strongmen, sword play. Bring coin, bring cheer." Arena, the old quarry, now a pit for grim sport. You know its draw. Blood distracts, however briefly. You move on, past gamblers counting thin winnings, past dancers who spin as if the world might not end. A glance back. The fiddler still plays, bow arm trembling. You wonder, how many of these revelers will live to see tomorrow? Spoiler, not all. Congratulations. You walk away with your purpose intact. You clutch your bundle tighter. The hospital gates loom ahead. Duty calls. Life's shadow play fades behind you. As the true theater of survival awaits within stone walls, picture this. The hospital gates close behind you with a hollow clang. But your respite is brief. A runner waits, breathless, eyes wide. "Nurse, the bailiff calls. A case. Urgent." You sigh. Again. You follow, steps heavy. The city's law limps along, patchwork and weary. But order must appear to hold. Justice, a grim pantomime. The bailiff's hall reeks of sweat, smoke, and damp parchment. Few gathered, masked guards, a scribe hunched over brittle vellum, the bailiff himself, stout, red-faced, weary beyond words. The accused stands alone, a gaunt man, wrists bound, eyes hollow. His crime, stealing from the dead, or so charged. You are called as witness, not of deed, but of consequence. The bailiff rasps, "If true, contagion risk, theft beyond theft." You step forward, speak through the mask. Exposure likely. Punishment must not spread plague. A thin argument, but heard. The bailiff grunts. Sentence passes. Branding and exile, not rope. The man shudders. Spoiler. Mercy wears a cruel face. Congratulations. You swayed it. A little. Outside the punishment yard. A crowd gathers, silent. The brand hisses. The man screams once, then staggers into the street. None follow. Further on, the prison. A squat tower, stone dark with age. You pass its gate. Curiosity, morbid and brief. Inside, cold worse than outside. Chains bite thin wrists. The sick lie among the healthy. No time for separation. Guards pace, masks askew. A scribe lists names. Most will not leave these walls alive. You glimpse a child behind bars. No more than 8. Accused of theft. Alone. No trial soon. You leave quickly, heart heavy. Spoiler. Law here binds the desperate, frees the ruthless. Congratulations. You can still walk away. Outside again. The wind knifes through your robes. You draw them tighter. Duty calls you back toward the hospital. Another cart rumbles by. Chained prisoners within, faces pale. The driver spits. No hangings today, ropes too costly. Iron does what hemp cannot. You walk faster. Past walls daubed with warnings. Flee while you can. Pray while you must. Past guards who look away when you meet their gaze. Past a merchant haggling over bribes for a sick brother's release. Justice here is thin as gruel. You taste its bitterness even through the mask's herbs. You reach the hospital gate once more. Behind it, no trials, only truths, where life's sentence is swift and the only jury is fate. Picture this. You finally cross the hospital threshold, arms heavy with supplies. Inside, a world apart, a world unraveling. The great hall stinks of vinegar, sweat, and slow decay. Beds, rough pallets, straw thin, line the walls. Shapes shift beneath ragged blankets. Voices murmur, moan, cry out. You move quickly. A sister greets you, eyes hollow, movements slow. She takes your bundle with a nod, no words wasted. Work begins. First, the children's ward. Small bodies, too still. You kneel, check pulses, swab foreheads. Herbs beneath tiny noses. Prayers whispered for ears too weak to hear. Spoiler, not all will wake. Congratulations, some still breathe. Next, the main hall. The sick lie packed, coughs echoing like distant thunder. You change cloths, wash sores with sour wine. The stench clings to your gloves, your sleeves, your very skin. A man grips your wrist. Strength sudden, desperate. Tell me, will I die? You meet his gaze. Speak softly. Not today. A lie, a mercy. You move on. The doctors arrive, a grim procession. Robes stiff with wax, masks longer than yours. They speak in low Latin, prescribe more herbs, more bleedings. You watch, lips pressed thin. Bleeding the dying, folly dressed as wisdom. But they command respect. You obey where you must. Superstitions swirl thick as the smoke they burn. Garlic hung by beds, crosses chalked on walls, coins left on tongues, bribes for the ferryman. A woman wails beside her husband's bed, scattering salt in frantic circles. You let her. No harm in hope. An old man whispers of rats, of stars in ill alignment. You nod, listen. Fear breeds strange truths. Spoiler. The rats speak truer than the stars. Congratulations. You see it, if not yet the cause. You tend the worst cases last. Buboes black and swollen, breath rattling, eyes vacant. You wash, you bind, you whisper what comfort you can. One child clutches a doll, eyes wide even in fever. You tuck the blanket tighter, brush tangled hair back. The doll stares back at you. You look away. At midday, the master physician calls an assembly. His voice booms beneath the vaulted roof. Air must be cleansed. More fires, more herbs. Seal the lower ward. You nod with the rest, though doubt gnaws. Smoke masks little, cloth less, but action is balm for fear. You work on. Fingers numb, shoulders aching. The hours blur. Names fade. Faces linger. Spoiler. In this place, death is swift, mercy slow. Congratulations. You endure both. By twilight, your shift ends. You strip gloves with trembling hands. Wash in sour water that burns cracked skin. You pause at the door. Look back once. Rows of beds, flickering light. A sister kneeling in prayer. And life clinging stubbornly to its thread. As outside the city darkens, and unseen shapes scurry beneath its stones. Picture this. You step into the chill of evening, body spent, mind a dull thrum. Yet your path does not lead straight to your room. A sister stops you, quiet, urgent. A family calls, nearby. Their child burns with fever. You nod. Turn your weary feet once more. The house is small, walls leaning close. Smoke curls from a cracked chimney. The father meets you at the door, face lined, hands shaking. He leads you inside. A mother kneels by the hearth, rocking a pale boy. His breath comes shallow, skin hot as iron. You kneel beside them, unwrap herbs, cloth, whispered words. The mother watches, eyes rimmed red. The father hovers, helpless. A simple family, cobbler's kin. Their lives worn smooth as their shoes. Love here runs deep if quiet. Spoiler. Such love fights hard. Congratulations. It sometimes wins. You work gently. Cool cloth to brow. Vinegar beneath the nose. Quiet words for the boy's fevered dreams. As you work, the mother speaks. Softly, as if to herself. 3 children. 2 gone. Only him now. You nod. You know. Too many homes echo the same refrain. Marriage in this time? A bond forged less in love than in need. But love often blooms within. Shared toil, shared grief, shared stubborn hope. Children, a fragile gift. 4, 5, 6 born, perhaps half survive. Mothers weep as often as they sing. Fathers count small shoes with wary hearts. The child stirs. You murmur encouragement. The mother clasps your hand. Rough fingers, a desperate grip. You meet her gaze. No promises. Only presence. The father kneels beside her, arms around them both. A portrait of stubborn hope in a crumbling world. Outside, neighbors whisper. Some shun, some pray. Fear breeds distance, but kinship fights it still. You leave herbs, instructions, a final touch to the child's brow. Then rise, slow, aching. The mother clasps your hand once more. Bless you. You nod. Step out into the night. Spoiler, the boy may live. Congratulations. Tonight they have hope. You walk past shuttered homes. Within, families huddle. Small clusters of warmth against the dark. Marriages strained by fear. Parents weary, watching small faces with dread and love. Children too young to understand why the streets grow empty, why the bells toll so often. A girl's voice drifts through an open shutter, a lullaby, thin and sweet. You pause, listen, then move on. Your own family? Distant, uncertain. Few in this trade hold to hearth and kin for long. The mask leaves little room for soft ties. Yet in moments like this, a mother's grip, a father's gaze, you remember what endures. You walk on, toward your lodging, toward rest, brief and brittle, as the city's small lights flicker against the vast dark. Picture this. You return at last to your lodging house, steps dragging, arms leaden. Inside, dim light, flickering, the smell of smoke, sweat, old stew. The landlady nods from her corner, mending a ragged shawl. No words pass. Too many risks in careless breath. You climb to your room, strip off cloak, mask, gloves, slow, careful. Each layer peels away like old skin. Beneath, linen damp with sweat, wool heavy with city filth. You wash, cold water, rough cloth. The bite of vinegar stings raw hands. You grit your teeth. Then hunger stirs, sharp and insistent. You rummage through your chest. Supplies run thin, but enough for tonight. Cooking here is no art. Survival first. You light a small brazier with trembling fingers. The spark catches, smoke curls. You slice stale bread, soak it in thin beer. A scrap of cheese harder than bone. An onion, sprouting green but still sharp. Into a battered pot they go, with a pinch of herbs. You stir slowly, the scent rising, humble, rough, oddly comforting. Spoiler, this will not win feasts. Congratulations, it will fill you. As the pot simmers, you tend your space. Bed, shake straw flat. Rats, block holes with shards and cloth. Water, fetch a fresh jug from the common barrel. Household management here is constant battle. Clean cloth scarce, fuel scarcer, vermin persistent. Time always the tightest thread. The landlady's voice floats up the stairwell. More bodies today, no one claims them. You pause, stir the pot. Listen to the silence that follows. Downstairs, life persists. A neighbor sharpens knives by candlelight. Another scrubs a child's tunic with harsh lie. A third mends nets, though fishers dare the river less with each passing day. Each task a small rebellion against the chaos outside. Your stew thickens. You ladle it into a cracked bowl. Steam curls, bringing faint comfort. You eat slowly, methodically, each bite a quiet act of defiance. A neighbor knocks once, leaves a bundle by your door. Dried beans, a rough loaf. No note. Kindness needs no words here. You set some aside. Tomorrow may ask more of you. After eating, you clean the pot, sharpen your knife, check your dwindling store of herbs. Rituals of readiness, woven into bone. Spoiler. Small tasks save larger lives. Congratulations. You remember this. As night deepens, you wrap yourself in thin blankets. The room breathes cold and dark. From below, faint sounds, a lullaby, a whispered prayer, the creak of the building settling. You close your eyes. Not sleep, not yet. Rest, a space between one breath and the next. While beyond the shutter, the city groans beneath its unseen burden. Picture this. Night deepens, and yet you do not sleep. A tap at your door, soft, urgent. The boy again. They call, the tavern, a man down. You sigh. The cloak goes on, the mask, gloves. Staff in hand, you descend once more into the chill. Outside, the city has changed. By day, gray and grim. By night, stranger still. Shadows stretch long between wavering lanterns. Doors bolt tight. Windows glow faint behind shuttered slats. Yet life stirs, always. You pass a corner where men huddle around a brazier, hands outstretched, faces wary. They watch you pass in silence. Tavern looms ahead, light spilling yellow onto frozen stone. Its sign, faded, swinging on rusted chains, creaks in the wind. Inside, heat, noise, the bite of smoke, a bubble of stubborn revelry. Patrons crowd benches, mugs clutched tight. Laughter too loud, songs slurred thin. The air reeks of ale, sweat, fear masked in forced cheer. You move through, staff clearing a narrow path. Faces turn, then away. None meet your eyes. In a corner, the man lies slumped, pale, slick with sweat. Two companions hover helpless. You kneel, check pulse, breath. Fever grips him fast. Buboes swell beneath his arms. Spoiler, his fight is thin. Congratulations, yours will endure. You work swiftly, herbs beneath his nose, cloth to brow. You instruct the companions, space, fresh air, no touch. Their eyes shine with terror. Around you, the tavern sways between curiosity and dread. The barkeep wrings his hands. He drank fine this eve. You nod. Disease needs no invitation. Work done, you rise. The crowd parts. You leave silver on the counter. Pay for the risk, a thin courtesy. Outside again. The cold slaps your face. You draw breath through bitter herbs. Night sounds weave strange patterns. A distant bell tolls. A dog bays. Steps echo in alleys unseen. You pass a shuttered chapel. Faint candlelight flickers within. A priest chants alone, words thin as the wind. Further on, a group of masked figures move silently. Cleansing crew. They scatter herbs, swing censers, mutter charms. You nod in passing. They nod back. No words. Taverns shudder slowly as curfew nears. Late stragglers hurry home, cloaks tight, eyes darting. You reach your lodging house once more. The door opens to your knock. The landlady's gaze tired but grateful. Upstairs, you strip the mask last. The air feels raw without it. You wash, eat a crust of bread, sip thin beer. The room breathes cold and still. Below, the city murmurs its restless song. You lie back, blankets thin, body aching, and outside, beneath a sky veiled in smoke and stars, the city dreams uneasy dreams. Picture this. You wake in the dark before dawn, eyes grainy, body heavy with ache. But not sick. Not yet. You count this a blessing. The city breathes fitfully around you. 1,000 unseen hazards lurking beyond your shutter. And so you rise. And you remember. Old wisdom passed from tired mouth to tired ear, from those who have walked this road longer than you. Tip the first. Never trust the still air. If the breeze dies, light herbs, stir the smoke. Air unmoving is a silent killer. Old midwives speak this truth with sharp eyes. Tip the second. Layer your mask herbs fresh each morning. Lavender if you have it, rosemary if you do not. Vinegar-soaked cloth if all else fails. Stale herbs invite folly. The scent is armor as much as breath. Tip the third. Sleep above the floor. Rats and worse find the low spaces. A single inch between you and the boards matters. You think of the old man in the hospital, blind but wise. His voice rasped. 3 fingers high, death runs by. You raised your mattress that night. You still do. Tip the fourth. Coins cleanse quicker than cloth. Metal, wiped and boiled, carries less than wool or flax. Keep your purse light, your hands lighter. You glance at your staff, leaning by the door. Smooth wood worn by use. One more old ally. Tip the fifth. Kindness costs little. Costs less than regret. The bread left by your door still lingers in your mind. You pass such gifts forward when you can. Spoiler, not all wisdom is written in books. Congratulations. You listen still. You eat a thin breakfast, dress with slow care. Each layer chosen with thought. Linen, wool, cloak, gloves. The city stirs below, a cough, a shout, the roll of distant wheels. You pack your pouch, herbs, cloth, knife, coins, bread. Then pause. A breath. A moment to remember the old nurse's words. Walk as if you will return. Work as if you will not. You smile faintly. Open the door. Step into the dim. Another day begins. Another thread on the knife edge of life. And above the first pale line of dawn etches the smoke-veiled sky, while below your city waits, weary, wounded, and still holding on. Picture this. The night leans long. You lie in your narrow bed, cloak still wrapped tight. Sleep comes slow, wary. Through the shutter, the city murmurs, a faint, ragged pulse. You drift between wakefulness and dark. Scenes flicker behind tired eyes. Faces, the weaver's thin smile, the baker's trembling hands, the boy's pale stare. You wonder, how many still breathe tonight? How many more will fall before the sun? The old nurse's words return. In plague, the living serve the dying, and in so doing serve life itself. You breathe deep. Bitter herbs cling to your throat, your skin. Spoiler, no one stands immune. Congratulations, you stand still. Footsteps sound below, slow, cautious. The landlady checks locks, snuffs lamps, a small ritual of defiance. Somewhere a bell tolls thrice, a new passing. You count without thinking. Another thread cut. Above, the sky begins its slow shift, black thinning toward gray. Dawn will come as it always does, indifferent to the counting. You sit up, stretch aching limbs. Each joint protests, each breath rasps cold. Yet movement brings its own weary comfort. In the corner, your staff waits. The mask, the gloves, old companions now. You will don them again soon. But for this moment, one small space of quiet. You sit, hands wrapped around a cooling mug of thin beer, eyes fixed on the first pale glow behind the rooftops. You think of the family by the hearth, the child's small hand clutching yours, the mother's whispered thanks. You think of the fiddler atop the barrel, the grim dance against the dark. You think of your own breath, slow, steady, and marvel that it still comes. Outside, the city stirs. Creak of cartwheels, murmured prayers, a crow's harsh cry. Day breaks anew, indifferent and raw, but you will rise, walk, tend, witness. Such is the work, such is the life. You breathe deep once more, stand, reach for the mask, and step into the slow, relentless dawn. Sleep well now, traveler, for even in the darkest times, some lights refuse to fade. Good night.